You know, when you mix money and love, things can get messy. Today, we're jumping into a story that sits right at that crossroad. It's about a prenuptial agreement that almost blew up a relationship, but weirdly enough, might have been the very thing that saved it.
And that really brings us to the big question here. A question a lot of people face. For the guy in our story, this wasn't just some hypothetical. Nope, this was a real-world problem that pushed him into making what felt like an absolutely impossible choice.
So let's set the stage. Before he even met his fiancée, Veronica, our guy had built an entire life, an entire career from the ground up. This wasn't some trust fund situation. This was earned, sweat equity style. And that, well, it's crucial for understanding what was at stake.
11 years. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. More than a decade of his life poured into building his business before this relationship even started. This isn't just a number, it's the story of his dedication.
And this wasn't some easy ride. We're talking about the whole grind, starting out in cheap apartments, pulling those brutal 18-hour days. And it paid off. He ended up with 3 commercial properties and a logistics company that had 42 people on payroll. This was his life's work, plain and simple.
All right, so after all that hustle, he finds love. He meets Veronica, and for 2 years, everything is just perfect. She has her own career, her own drive. The proposal, it's a movie moment. She says yes before he can even get the words out. On the surface, it's an absolute fairy tale.
But, of course, this is where the fairy tale hits a major speed bump. 6 months before the wedding, his lawyer gives him some pretty standard common sense advice. Hey, you need to protect what you've built. And just like that, the prenuptial agreement enters the picture.
So what was in this thing anyway? Was it some kind of crazy demand? Not at all. It was actually super straightforward. Basically, anything he owned before the wedding stayed his. But, and this is the important part, anything they built together after they were married, that was going to be split 50-50 right down the middle.
And look, this wasn't just him thinking it was fair. His own lawyer, a guy who's seen everything, said it was one of the most reasonable, fair and square prenups he'd ever written. So we're not talking about some aggressive, one-sided document here.
So he brings it up, calmly over dinner. He's thinking it'll be a simple, practical chat. But what he got was a total emotional collision. Logic crashed right into a wall of feeling, and the whole thing kicked off with just one word.
That's it. Just that one word. Insult. Before she even really looked at it, before they could talk it through, that was her gut reaction. It's wild how fast a money talk can turn into something deeply, deeply personal.
And right here, you can see the two worlds colliding. It's a classic logic versus emotion showdown. For him, this was just business as usual, a smart way to protect a decade of his life's work. But for her, it felt like he was planning for their divorce before they were even married, like he didn't trust her. They were looking at the exact same piece of paper and seeing two completely different things.